Do you hear the airplane high above us? In the sky, there's people inside going to another place. Where they're going, wherever they want to go, wherever they paid to go, wherever they had the energy and the resonance to go, and that manifests in an infinite amount of ways. How you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful day. My day's been pretty interesting. I'm getting ready to go to Wook Canyon and do an amazing freaking light show. I can't wait. The one on Saturday was amazing. Everybody was saying that event, we worked so hard and really put a lot of love into it. It was amazing. And then the week before that was just such a dream come true. I'm going to keep living in that dream and making all the things in my heart come true. It's wonderful. So, let's take a second to get weird, because that's what I do, because I'm a weird guy, the Cascadian seer, I see things, and I know things, because everything's a thing, right? I'm a linguistic mystic, too. I like to use words, I play with them, because you got to play with everything if you really want to get the most out of it. If you're playing, the energy's in your favor. If you're working, you're giving your energy away to some other thing that you convinced yourself was more important than you. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it makes sense to give energy. When we give in loving balance because we care enough about this other system. And we want to bring balance to it because something took it out of balance, so we show it the love it needs to get back in a proper state of love and resonance with itself, Yeah. I'm also the peacock fire phoenix. Look at my pretty tails. Peacocks are amazing. They're beautiful. They're beautiful, right? They're beautiful birds. And they have on their tails, everybody's seen a peacock tail, and they're so beautiful, those pure colors. Well, what gives it such pure color? Well, those are actually lasers, baby. Yes, you heard it right, lasers. Look it up. Those are fucking lasers. Shoot lasers out my tail, bro. Yeah, and I wear my coats of many colors just like Joseph. It's a beautiful aura. But hey, let's get into the insanity today. Oh, I just may, and you don't even have to pay. No, that's not the way. Alright, here's what I had to say. So, reality, it's whatever you make it. It really is your choice. Like you, not, this guy too, who's, right here. Mr. Peacock Fire Phoenix, yeah, him too, but you too, in your own universe of thoughts, right? Nobody else owns that shit. Nobody else owns your fucking awareness, your I am presence. It's nobody else's. It's yours. God gave that to you. It's the one thing in the universe that is negatively entropic, is consciousness. Without awareness, everything fades away. Like if a bear shits in a wood and nobody's there to smell it, does it smell? Well, no, because you need three things. You need the whole trinity for creation. You need the observer, the observed, and the experience. And the observer changes the experience, and the experience changes the observer, and the observed. They all work together. It's we live in the world of duality, and the duality creates the trinity, because the balance of the dualities is a manifestation of love, and that manifestation of love, when it's balanced and in congruency with the self and the other, births a child, which is the neutral point, of balance between those two polarities. And when that child is created, that's how we create. And it's usually a manifestation of love. Well, it's always a manifestation of love, because love is the only thing we can even create with. Even the most worst actions since the beginning of time were an attempt for someone to connect with love. But the issue is, too often it's of service to self rather than service to the collective. And that's really what makes the difference. It's not to say that you can't be of service to self to be of service to the collective, but like all things, the heart of the matter is the matter of the heart. Going back, stepping back, going backwards to what we originally came here for. Reality. So I'm gonna let you in on a fun little idea. Maybe it's a secret. Oh, he knows. Don't tell anyone. Maybe you should tell people, because transparency is the manifestation of trust. If you don't have transparency, you don't have trust. If you don't have trust, it's hard to maintain the loving balance. So check this out. We all have parasites in our stomach, most of us, right? We all have fungal networks in our blood and body, right? And have you ever really stopped to think about their potential symbiotic relationship, not only with you, but with each other within your body and consciousness? Probably not. That's too far out. But is it? Is it too far out? Well, here's the thing. Sometimes in life, you have to go far out to see the big picture. Because the farther out you go, the more you can see, baby. Look at that beautiful tree. Isn't it nice? Yes. We have a tree inside too, the tree of life. It is all of our wonderful systems, the lymphatic system, the lung system, the circulatory system, all these different systems, which the most important ones have these connections to the 7 chakras, right? And thank you, Great Spirit of Tobacco. Thank you for being with me now. This is actually a great healer. The 2,000 chemicals is what gets you fucked up. And smoke organic. So yeah, these parasites and these funguses. Let's take a look at that, because there's a high chance that these parasites and funguses have created a symbiotic relationship that projects alternative realities into you. Oh my God, he's gone crazy. That makes no sense. Or maybe you were crazy and the crazy people actually figured it out, and you have to make yourself comfortable by calling them crazy because you haven't figured it out yet. Sorry. Well, let's take a look at this. How in the world could parasites and fungal networks actually serve to project realities, or to control a mind, or to make a human do something? Well, let's look at examples. Hey, if it's true, there should be an example of it that we can find in nature that is, clearly resonant with what we're saying. You know what a cordyceps is? It takes over different animals, right? It grows out of their brain, and you can see these ants that are dead, being controlled by this fungus, It's crazy. It's crazy. We eat them, though. We're bigger. We have more consciousness. So they help our mental vitality. If we had lower consciousness, though, they would... the highest frequency always affects the lower frequency. Heat goes to where cold is, not vice versa. Because the positive radiates to the negative, and the negative generates to the positive. Light gives off light, so it radiates itself, right? And to become darkness. And then that darkness goes within. It stays inside to hold on to the light, to generate that light. So, yeah, we're going far out. We're looking in deep, looking at the big picture. And so let's also take a look at this. So fungal networks, right? So this tree right here, right? Let's these roots that we see, right? There are all these studies that show that the mycorrhizal networks in the ground act as a system of information exchange that helps the the symbiotic relationships between the fauna and the flora to be optimal, you know? And this is one of the reasons why we need old growth forests, because those trees hold the sensory information from years and years of interacting with the environment. And the older the tree you have, the better it can exchange that mycorrhizal information through the, essentially, we'll consider it like a neural network, like an internet of potential exchange between the fungal systems and their surrounding interfacing capacities, you know. And these mycorrhizal networks, these fungi, they have a lot more interfacing capacity than what we're knowing, you know, what they let us know. Now, so we've looked at a clear example of how these fungal networks can act as a secondary information system to exchange information within a relationship of symbiosis, you know. Let's look next at the parasites. Okay, so the parasites, right? An attachment. Gotcha. It's going to steal your energy, your nutrients. Make you feel weird ways, give you a hard feeling, right? These parasites, they can affect your mind. They really can. Don't believe me? Toxoplasmosis. Oh, what is that? Well, it is a parasite that is lives in the stomach of cats and finishes its larva cycle, I believe, within the intestines of cats. And it has some unique effects on the host, the Lord of Hosts. Yeah, it has unique effects on the host. It will it'll allow them to become hypersexualized and have all these different effects. And they're finding out now through studies of quote unquote, different forms of psychosis, that these individuals have very unique and similar types of fungal and parasitic networks inside of them. Who'd have thunk that? Oh, that's weird. Or is it? So we really have to consider this. We shouldn't think that this is just insanity, you know? And another thing we have to consider, these parasites in the stomach, right? Like, they, for some reason, have this affinity to really center around the vagus nerve. What is the vagus nerve? Well, the vagus nerve is the nerve that goes from your stomach to your brain, right? And so it transfers the information. And, you know, some of these parasites make neurotoxins with their feces. Wait, that would be weird if they were releasing a neurotoxin, and that neurotoxin was next to the information exchange thing that went from your stomach to your brain. Goodness, what might that do? What might that do? I don't think it's going to, what do you say? I don't think it's good for you. So let's even look at other studies. So there's a lot of studies coming out now that are changing the understanding of the world of neuroscience. And what they're beginning to understand is that most mental, I'm crazy, conditions start in the stomach, right? And at first thought, that might seem kind of weird, right? But I can break you of that, like, here in just a few moments with just one freaking question. I'm gonna break you. Sorry. Here we go. So you think you don't believe that, and you don't have to believe that, but just consider this perspective that why can nutrition and the stomach not be that if they feed us pills and change our nutrition to do something about it. So wait, you're telling me they can feed us something that fixes the problem? Oh, it makes my head feel better. But they can't feed us something that makes the problem? Come on, get the fuck out of here with that. Use your brain. Or wait, can you anymore? Maybe those parasites and that fungus created a synthetic biological system, a mesh network that uses your energy and uses your mind against you, and creates these false realities with the symbiotic relationship of the neurotoxins created by the parasites and these information being portrayed by the mushrooms, not the mushrooms, the funguses. I mean, like, think about it. Like, any of you who have done a mushroom trip, like, you know, that shit can take you to other worlds. Like, it can put a quote-unquote false reality in your head. So what about these other species that have been around, quote-unquote, so much longer and had more capacity for evolution, you know? What might they do, you know? And how can these be exacerbated with other types of things like nanotechnology, you know? Maybe they're using these, like, graphene oxide systems that were proven now to be in the COVID vaccine. It's not a vaccine. They changed the definition of vaccine just so it could be called a vaccine. It's a genetic therapy that changes your genetic makeup to make the spike proteins, you know, and it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. And you know what? They never did a long-term test. They didn't want to. Because then they couldn't call it safe and effective, you know, which was a complete fucking lie. But moving back, so these parasites and these fungi, in combination with these nanotechnology systems, they're keeping us away from what we love, right? Because the ultimate reality for any one creator is to be in complete and utter connection with what they love the most. That's what makes you a star. When you shine your inner light by doing what you love fearlessly, without question, without saying sorry. Don't get me wrong, sometimes we fall out of balance and we learn. But that's what makes a star. You look at these alleged stars that are in Hollywood, and what do? They do what they love and they get real good at it, and then they make money, moon eyes. Ooh, moon eyes. Monies. Make these monies, and they're successful, full of success. But so many of these people are actually like, they made deals with the devil. The devil. Which is really the part of you that is going to make sure you don't get what you love unless you love it enough. Because if you don't love it enough to work for it and to resonate at that level, you won't travel to that dimension. So it might be to their benefit to have you not do what you love, to get sold something, a secondhand experience. And here's the thing, things that are sold, anything that you have to sell to yourself or in general wasn't worth buying in the first place. If they had to convince you that it was worth it, was it really worth it? No. You in your heart would know if it was worth it. You wouldn't question. You'd say, this is for me. This is for me. This is what I choose. This is what I am choosing. This is what I am loving right now. That's what matters. What is it that your I am presence is loving right now? And how can you tap into that so much that you create a positive feedback loop system of infinite energy where you start to drive yourself? Because you create a black hole at that point. You create a black hole. A black hole sucks in the light, just like our eyes. These are black holes. Right? They take in the light, they perceive it, they push back out, you know? And it's really cool. Really cool. Well, yeah, there it is. An interesting idea. I could go deeper into it, but I mean, fuck, it's been 20 minutes. Most of you guys are like, when is this guy gonna keep talking? I can't get enough of what he's saying. No, not right now. Not right now. There'll be a time for that. I really enjoy going into these wonderful what if situations because that's what we have to do. We have to be like, oh, what if? And think and use our brain, and our heart, you know? Yeah. Peacock Fire Phoenix. Cascadian Seer here. Coming at ya. Coming at ya. Hey, much love. Be kind to yourself. Follow what you love. Be who you are at the deepest level. That is your right. That is your right. And your duty as a co-creator with your I am presence. Don't accept any and don't accept any reality that is anything less than what you know you deserve as a co-creator. Okay? And then you're going to travel that dimension. Anything that you love, you're going to get if you love it enough. And if not, the devil, the part of yourself that is going to test you, is going to make you think you don't have it, or that you don't need it, or that you don't want it, or that you don't deserve it. And if you capitulate, fine, that's what you get. And I think maybe these attachments, these things are part of that. You know? Look into the Egyptian parasites and what they did and how they affected consciousness. You know, they had some pretty interesting beliefs in regards to that. Some people would say that these parasites are actually manifestations of demons. You know, that's quite an interesting concept. But we'll talk about that later. For now, you got some research to do. I said a lot of crazy shit, and you might not know about all of it. So get into that shit. Find out what makes sense. But above all, play, laugh, dance, because that is what it's all about. Dance and sound and light, baby. The original Trinity. Bye.